farming and gardening doesn't not have to be emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually exhausting. It doesn't have to be backbreaking either. In fact, you can cultivate your health while you tend your farm and while you tend your garden. And when you do that, instead of farming and gardening being backbreaking and emotionally exhausting and financially stressful, it becomes back strengthening, emotionally rewarding, spiritually centering, and mentally energizing. It's really powerful. Julie Bradley Lowe, the farmer yoga teacher, is a farmer herself in Ontario, Canada. And she brought her farming practice from off of her mat in the class right into the fields of her farm, and noticed a major transformational shift in the way she was able to show up as a farmer, as a mom, as a wife, and as a business owner. And in this interview, she shares with us how we can get started doing yoga on our farms to bring us more health. And she tells us how easy it is and what we need to get started. It's actually a lot simpler than you think. I'm Natalie Forstbauer, founder and editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul magazine. Be sure to like this video and share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel if you like it, so you can see all the new art interviews that come out, and it helps the videos get seen. And if you haven't subscribed to Heart and Soul magazine yet, head on over to heartandsoulmagazine.com to grab yourself a subscription, and you get access to all the back issues too. Make yourself an amazing day. Enjoy the conversation. Julie, you're a farmer yourself. You have a young family, young children, you have animals, pets, you just had puppies. And so you really know what it's like to be a farmer and kind of hold it all together. And not only are you farming full time, but you're also working off the farm, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, to support the farm. So I'm wondering, as a farmer, how do you keep it all in balance? Like, how do you keep yourself in shape physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, so that you're not feeling worn out and drained by the end of the day, but that you can feel energized and feel like you can be present as a mom and be present as a partner, and also get everything done that you have to do in a day? How do you do that?
Well, I don't do it perfectly every day, that's for sure. And it's always, it's each day as the intention of being as balanced as I can. And I practice a lot of letting go. But what's kept me grounded most of the time is to really keep a short practice every day of falling back into my body sensations and into the present moment. And I reach out to this when I practice yoga.
Yeah, that's and you also are a yoga instructor and teacher. Do you do anything else besides the yoga outside of the farm?
No, I teach yoga in my community outside of the farm. Actually, it's on the farm because we have our wellness studio, but I also go into community centers and teach students. And no, other than that, it's farming, mothering, and teaching yoga, and trying to be a good person.
Yeah. And I'm really curious, when did you notice that yoga was a really powerful tool to lean into as a farmer?
Well, I noticed it almost right away when I hit the ground, when I was in a very difficult, challenging place, because, as you know, I've been farming almost since I had my first son, although we were not living on the farm at that time, but there was still a balancing act of having a newborn and driving to the place where we had goat and etc. But when I had my second son, I had a birth strain, so I had a prolapse, and it's when I started full-time farming. And so I had two young kids that were not going to daycare, that I was raising on the farm and learning all about farming full-time and growing livestock and meat for people. And eventually at the end of the season, or not even at the end of the season, the mid-season, I realized that I love this very much. It's very attractive. I really like it. I think I find my calling, but I won't be able to keep up if I'm not doing something for myself, because I don't see myself continuing like this more than one season. And I want to keep doing this job because it's my calling. I want to do it until I'm very old. So of course, right away, the yoga kicked in. I'm like, of course, yes, that makes complete sense. I'm going to apply my yoga knowledge and practice into what I'm doing. So either the movements that I'm doing throughout the day, bringing my body awareness to when I'm carrying a kid strapped on my back and doing animal chores. And also in the evening, really trying to make a point of having 5 minutes, just only 5 minutes before bed. If I can do longer, I would do longer. And sometimes I was just doing it when I was going to do chores in the evening without my kids, just 10 minutes lying down on the barn floor.
So you practiced yoga before you were a farmer?
Yes.
And in that first year where
I've been practicing yoga for over 10 years.
Good 10 years. Okay. And in that first year where it was really, really hard as a farmer, did you practice yoga right out of the gates, or did you forget for a time and then all of a sudden reconnect with, of course, yoga?
Yeah, for sure. I noticed that I forget yoga sometimes. And it definitely happened because it was so busy. We moved in, it was in the summer, and we had to grow food for our CSM members right away and learning. So I completely forgot about yoga off my class. I didn't bring my yoga practice off the mat, like I said, to my students and into my life. And eventually it clicked because I had to really sustain my season, finish it well, so that I could really carry on. So yes, I realized that, and then I came back to it simply, but effectively.
Yeah. And what was that moment? Like, walk me through, like, what were you feeling in that moment where you were like, oh, like where you're kind of falling apart, and then you're like, oh, of course, do what I know, yoga. Like, what was happening?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that moment pretty well. I was actually feeding my livestock guardian dog out in the field on pasture. We grazed on different pasture, and so it was at night because I was doing the chores a little late, and I had a moment and I paused and I looked up in the sky. There was beautiful stars, and I took a long deep breath. And just all of a sudden I realized, but why don't I lay here and do my practice? And then I did that before the sheep started to all like crowd around me and just lick my face off. And then I realized that it's just that simple. It's not something that I'm adding onto my to-do list. It's just something that is going to help me carry on with my to-do list in a better way. So it came naturally. It came back naturally, and that was such a aha moment, and it was so healing, because I was just having a big hard time, and just taking that moment of pause, holding space for myself, and just allowing myself to lie down on the ground and to fall back into those bodily sensations and in the moments.
How did you feel after you took that moment?
Well, I felt that I was really honoring myself, and that was kind of the missing puzzle piece that was right into the complete picture of how can I make this amazing and meaningful life that I want so much by living on the farm and farming. How can I make this more appealing to me, and also show others that there is a way of farming the right way and of sustaining that type of farming in our own bodies.
And what did you feel like before, like when you had that moment, just before you looked up into the stars? Like, what were you feeling? Were you feeling tired or burnt out, or like? Like what was happening for you before you looked up into the stars?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was feeling like so overwhelmed, and I was feeling maybe guilty of not able to succeed everything that was, that I had responsibility for, and not matching up the idea that I could manage it all. And so yeah, so I felt overwhelmed and guilt and sadness. Yeah.
Mm, I really understand that feeling of
Mm-hmm.
that, of
Yeah.
wanting to do it all and wanting to be it all. And I
Mm-hmm.
think as farmers, I think we often feel that. And I want to
Mm-hmm.
recognize you for noticing what you're more deeply learning for and taking that moment to look up into the stars and having that shift and sharing it with us, because you named a couple of really powerful things, Julie. One is the power of the pause.
Mm-hmm.
When we stop and when we sink into
Mm-hmm.
exactly where we're at in the moment, and then recognizing what's going to fill our cup up. And so I'm wondering, um, two things. One is farmers and even as gardeners, sometimes we can really pour ourselves into like serving, into growing food, into raising
Mm-hmm.
animals, into and doing it all right. We want to make sure we get it right, because there's a lot at stake if we don't get it right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Animals can get sick, our crops can die, weeds can take over.
Yeah.
Um, and so when we're in that state of disarray, what can we do to reorient?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's as simple as, like you said, just that pause, that
Mm,
breath, that awareness, and understanding that if we keep going without taking care of ourselves, is
mm,
when we're going to make mistakes. I see it in my farming, and even in my parenting. If I'm sick, or if I went to bed too late, or if I'm stressing out so much onto something, the energy of that is just bouncing back at me and into this thing and into what I'm doing. I'm making the wrong decision. So I'm going to maybe not do the thing I wanted to do because I want to shortcut something, and the repercussion of that is going to be negative, have a negative impact. And
mm,
so I think that just filling up my cup on a daily basis with a small dose of self-care helps me to every day, or sometimes stretch out my energy a little wider if there is an emergency on the farm, or if something happens that was unexpected, or if I want to do a little bit more extra work. And it's coming
mhm,
from a genuine place, like it's coming from a place of being grounded, and not
mhm,
from a place of strain. Mm-hmm.
mhm. Right. And sometimes when people think of yoga, they think of like, all these crazy poses that they have to do and stuff like that. And so I'm wondering, like, does a person have to be in, like, honestly, when we think of yoga, we think of really in shape people in yoga pants or on the beach or up on the mountain doing this amazing pose. And you're talking about doing yoga and resetting and refilling your cup for farmers. So, and we're
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily on a beach or on the top of a mountain posing. So, like, uh, is this really something that any kind of farmer can do, or do you have to be in good shape in order to start it, or what does that look like?
Oh, oh no, no, no. My favorite student to teach are beginners and people who think they can do yoga. One time, one of my teachers said, starting up a class when I was in training, she said, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. So yoga is accessible to everyone, to any body type, to every mental state, to anything, if you're willing to step in to yourself and take a moment to breathe and to bear whatever experience you're having through yoga with compassion. And it started very simply. And the way I'm teaching is inclusive because it's what I believe in. I believe that everybody can do yoga. And because, you know, we're all breathing together. And again, I don't have that super long time to go on the exotic retreats and all of this. So, you know, sometimes I'm stretching for stretching, and it's very targeted to a specific area of my body that needs it. And sometimes I bring a little bit more, you know, let's say spirituality, meaning that I'm here in the present moment and I'm feeling so grateful. But sometimes it's just a stretch for a stretch because I hurted my hip or I have like a sore back. But it's every time that I'm doing this, I'm really trying to take some deep breath, to be in the present moment, to bear with the sensations. And I believe that this is accessible for anyone who wants to, like, you know, feel better about their body and farming and sustain what they're doing. You know, it's a real investment into themselves and into their farming endeavor.
One of my trainers that I worked with, he always kind of laughed. He would always kind of laugh at farmers and gardeners because they would come in to see him, and he's a like a motor mechanic specialist, not a motor car mechanic, but motor mechanics when it comes to the body. And he's a kinesiologist and a personal trainer, and he's really good at helping people heal injuries. Really, really good at it. And he said he just has to laugh at all the farmers and gardeners that come in to see him because they're like, all I'm doing is weeding, or all I'm doing is working on the farm, or all I'm doing is gardening. And he's like, that is really physical work. And also sometimes it's really, really repetitive. So when we do the repetitive, sometimes parts of our body can get stronger and other parts of our bodies can get weaker. And we don't even realize that we need a more balance in our motor mechanics to prevent injury, right? And to actually feel strong. So, so that's one of the things that I love about the yoga that you do with people. And then you also said that you use it for just being present. And so yoga is more than just stretching, is what I'm understanding from you.
Yeah, for sure. I love saying that the type of yoga that I share, you know, when I lead a class is a sort of a meditation in motion, because it's just a falling into the present moment and sensing the sensations, not willing to change them, but just being present with them. Oh, I'm sensing that. Isn't it interesting? You know, and keep moving the body and just being present. And it's such a gift mentally to use this presence, not just for what is beautiful and around us and the meaningful work that we do as farmer, but for the beauty of our inner landscape also.
So if I was a farmer or a gardener and I wanted to start trying this yoga thing, how much time would I need in a day or a week?
Yeah, well, you know, I love starting baby step by baby steps. So what I would do is just first, you know, with the material and the content that I share, is just bringing awareness when we farm, when the body talks to us in a way of aching or in a way of pleasure. And so just noticing that, where do I feel what? And then actually looking with your eyes to your posture. And that's the first step, the awareness. And then after that, if there is like a targeted, you know, strain or issue, then looking towards, okay, what can I do? And then trying to stretch and to breathe and to be in the moment. That can take anywhere from like 2 minutes up to 40 minutes. You know, it's really depending of what you have during the day. And again, I love talking about the evening one because, you know, even if you have young kids, I used to co-sleep in bed share. I still bed share, but kids, when they're asleep, I just sneak out of the bed and do it on my bedroom floor. You don't need a yoga mat to practice yoga. You don't need to go into a yoga studio. what you need is to learn tools and to apply them to you in places that make sense, and to reach out to that opportunity. So that can be in the greenhouse, that can be in the field, that can be holding the beam in the barn. It's taking that practice off the mat into your life. It's how it's going to make sense for us farmers.
That's so cool. So you answered all three of my questions. Where do we start? We start where we are, and with building awareness. How much time do we need? Not very much, less than 2 minutes. And where can we do it? Anywhere. Like you said, don't need a mat. All you need is yourself and your awareness.
Yeah.
And I'm also wondering, when did it dawn on you to start sharing this with other farmers and gardeners? Like when was that moment where you're like, oh, I need to share this?
Yeah. Well, it took a while because so I took it in, and I went through a whole cycle of a year. So that was during that aha moment, in the summer in the field under the night sky, and I lie down on the grass and start falling back into my own yoga practice, and not only the one that I'm sharing in my community. And so it resonated with me as a farmer, as a mother, and as a homesteader and gardener. And so I keep practicing it. I'm like a little scientist. I experiment, I see, I practice this, and I start seeing the result and how things are shifting, even just with my relationship with my partner, that is also my farming partner, and all of this is intertwined. And I can see that I'm way more grounded, and I am way more calm and in charge when actually I feel that I filled up my cup, even if it's a few minutes of stretching per day. So I'm starting to see all of those results. And, I go through the phase of the winter where things are slowing down, and I deepen my practice then. I have a little bit more time. I want to restore. And then when spring comes, a little bit before spring, I'm like, oh, but I need to prep my body now because it's starting to get busy. I need to strengthen myself. And so going through all of those seasons and all of those phases, and I'm like, wow, this is actually really making sense. And it is so beneficial to me that I want to get it out there, because I love farmers, and I'm so excited with all of the older, younger people. I want to make it more attractive to people. We need more farmers. I believe in the 100-mile diet, that you go to your neighbors, and your neighbors is growing this and that, and it's so easy to reach out for food in your community, not far. And I really want to shift that idea of the old farmer who has giving up on his farming, who is so broken in his body and his mind that first off, you don't want to do this because it feels sore, and then it's hard to see someone like this. So I really want to reach out to those farmers that are already in pain, and to one that are training, and to one that are right in the midst of like the craziness with a family, young kids, this and that, and the puppies and all of this, and telling them this is just right for you. It's exactly what you need is this, because these tools are going to help you over your life. Because even if it's the same tool that you're carrying it, your body changes from one day to another, depending on the cycles of the season, depending of whatever is happening else into your life or into the world. Those movements are going to anchor you, and then you'll tap into that body wisdom. Your body will recognize it. And you'll get intimate with your body. And this is like, I think, one of the most precious gifts that we can give ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. It's so powerful. And the way you teach yoga and the offerings that you bring to us are really, really powerful, Julie, because I know from working with you myself and from witnessing other people who have been in the room with you, although not physically and on Zoom since over the last 2 years has been the pandemic, I've been able to witness the shifts for people dropping into their bodies and feeling stronger, feeling more emotionally connected and balanced, and feeling even shifting their mindset, right? shifting the
Mm-hmm.
mindset from like, I can't do this, it's too much going on, and how am I going to do it all,
Mm-hmm.
to I need to get done what I can today, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take care of myself while I'm doing it. And I love what you said about changing the story for farmers. And I think we're in a time right now where more and more people are coming into farming who really want it all. And I say want it all really loosely, because
Mm-hmm.
I like to hold this space for people to define what that is for them, right? To really hold
Mm-hmm.
the space. And what you are sharing with us is helping us to create that, having it all, create that lifestyle, to create the joy that can come with it, to create the connections and the community that can come with it, and all while looking after ourselves and our families and our farms and our spouses, and maybe not even looking after, but being present with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Mm-hmm.
Julie, you work one-on-one with people. You also just launched a YouTube channel where you have some videos up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. And then you have your
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
newsletter, and you just launched a couple
Yes.
of courses with us, which I'm really excited about, with Heart and Soil. So can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about those,
Mm-hmm.
like farming through the seasons with yoga,
Mm-hmm.
and what that is about, and why somebody would want to participate on that? Like, what do they get out of that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, farming through the season with yoga really resonate with what I said previously about my own experience as, you know, uh, uh, the work on the farm anchors me very intimately with the land and the seasons. And, you know, my inner landscape is really a reflection of the outer landscape and vice versa. So I decided, you know, I just really want to share this and make it accessible for people, not depending just of, you know, the weather season, but also the seasons of life and the season of your day or of the hours that are passing by. You know, we go through the spring, and then, you know, the summer, and then the fall and the winter constantly, you know, regarding our emotions or physical state or mental states. So just having it on an on-demand online version was super exciting for me, because for any person who speaks and understands English, they could have this in their inbox and also access it at any moment, anywhere that they need it. So they are they're offering a longer practice of 40 minutes. So whenever you have that extra time, for each season there is a themed practice for 40 minutes. But if you don't have that time, then you can still go to the core and key exercises that, in my opinion, are very important for the type of theme that you want. So for example, spring is it's to prep, because you want to prepare your body, and you want also to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally to the season ahead, you know. And so all of this has been tailored and designed with this in mind. What are the key exercises and movement and breath work that I can offer to someone to keep it very simple, very efficient and effective and enjoyable, so that they can take it off their mat or off their rug into their barn or into their greenhouse, into the field, and really feel empowered as farmers throughout the year, you know. So this is why farming through the season with yoga it's just really like my whole experience over a year, and how yoga can benefit all of the seasons of life or over a year. I think it's amazing. I practice it myself, you know. Actually yesterday I did the spring prep. In the morning I had a little extra time, and so I did the full on 40 minutes, and it was just amazing. I love being guided. Sometimes it can feel hard a bit for people that don't know what to do or where to go. So those practices are nice. They don't really have to think it too much, but as they practice more and more with me, with the videos or following up what's in the booklet, then they can really take it on and make in their own version. Because some of my participants have been telling that after a while they felt empowered, and they felt that they could actually bring in more of this movement or of that movement and blending things into their own way. So for example, the winter restore practice can be very well done right in the middle of the summer, but it's a cooler night and you want to practice on your deck, for example, then you can do the winter practice, you know?
Super powerful. Yeah, people are loving it. And my favorite one was from one of the first people who bought the brand new program when we first launched it, was, this is exactly what I need. I've been looking for this, right? So it's something that is really serving the farming community. And so I thank you so much for everything you do for us, and all the breathing exercises and yoga exercises you share on Instagram, on Facebook. It's so a person can access this information just for free too. It's really, really powerful.
Yes,
that you're offering that and holding the space for farmers to just really take care of themselves while they tend their land and they tend their livestock. So thank you, Julie. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we didn't cover today that you wanted to?
Well, I wanted to invite people who would be curious to join into my Save Your Back series. So the Save Your Back series, to know me a little bit better. And this one it's a bit special. It's extra special. I find my Save Your Back is only 3 videos. They're quite short. And I'm using props that you can find around the house that gives you that a little deeper stretch or extra stretch that really helps to reset the back. Because there is this old saying of thinking of farmers or farming, I would say, as back breaking. And I'd like to shift things around into, well, it doesn't have to be back breaking. It can be back strengthening, right? Like farming can be so fulfilling, even if it's hard. It's so meaningful. Can reflect that beauty and that meaningfulness, and also that resiliency back at us. And it's really what I want to offer through this free series. So it's for anyone who wants to start with me. And like I said, it's with some props that you can find around the house. It's only 3 short videos to reset your back. And any moment is the ideal moment to sign up and to join in and to see the real of what I'm doing, and knowing that it's not just a video and things are in, but I'm always here for the people who have questions. If they want any variations, or if something felt odd or felt amazing, then just share with me, reach out to me. I love hearing from people and how they experience in their own body what I'm offering them.
Yeah, thanks for that, Julie. You're always so generous with your time and sharing tips and techniques and strategies to help us deepen into our practice and make the exercises work for us, right?
Yeah.
That Save Your Back process is amazing. And it's true. It is simple and yet super profound. People are really experiencing huge shifts when they do it. You can find the link to the Save Your Back series in the description below. So be sure to go and click on that and join for free. Thank you so much, Julie. You're amazing. Appreciate who you are.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Natalie.
Big love. Grateful you joined us for that conversation and interview. If you haven't subscribed to Heart and Soil Magazine yet, head over to heartandsoilmagazine.com. Click on that subscribe button and join us for just $39.99 a year. You make yourself an amazing day, and I'm really grateful you're part of our community.